number 30 for the VYPEU Podcast. I'm Will Turbock, joined by Ella Hestand. We have a great show for you. We've got a big interview. We're going to recap a couple huge games from last week. And of course, we'll end with some picks. But let's go ahead and get it started off with a game that we hyped up so much last week. We had some different opinions on who was going to win. I said Spring. I believe both Ashton and Ella said Westfield. Westfield comes out with a win, 31-21, in front of a packed stadium at Planet Ford Stadium. Spring almost managed to come back in the fourth, but that Westfield defense is just amazing, and they proved it in that game. And Cardell Williams is just about perfect this year. He's going to lead the Mustangs to a district title unless there's some major hiccups in the next couple weeks. So, Ella, should Westfield be considered a state favorite going into the playoffs?
I think the Mustangs are definitely one of the top contenders right now for a spot at AT&T Stadium. However, if in the playoffs they end up having to play North Shore again, I think it'll be a very interesting game because North Shore doesn't lose and not feel bitter about it. They're going to come back and be hungry for that win. And if they end up matching up in the playoffs somehow, then I think North Shore is going to give Westfield a run for their money because North Shore is a team that continuously goes to AT&T Stadium. So if they face off against Westfield, we'll see. But I think right now Westfield is definitely one of the big ones going to AT&T Stadium. If you're just looking into past games, how their preseason was, this game against Spring, they're very big right now. They've got great players. Cardell Williams is passing pretty much a picture-perfect game every time. And it will be very difficult for any team to disrupt the rhythm that they've got going right now.
Yeah, I mean, wins against North Shore and Spring, two teams that are considered probably top 10 in the state, and Westfield has got to be top 5 at this point. Last year, they won 2 games in the playoffs before getting blown out by Duncanville. We'll have to see how it works. Not sure if they'll go D1 or D2 this year, but if they run into a Duncanville-like team again, and now that we know they're probably going to come in undefeated, there's not a lot of teams in the entire state that I would take over Westfield, and especially they're not going to lose 56-0 in the playoffs this year. I promise you that. And a team that didn't lose in the playoffs at all last year, our 6A D2 champions, the Katy Tigers, absolutely dominated in their revenge game against Tompkins. Oh my goodness, Ella, 56-21. This is a game that we thought was going to be close. It was not close. Kaleb Koger, one of our good friends over here at the show, 334 yards and 5 touchdowns. And if that wasn't enough, Seth Davis went for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. 4 games left to go for Katy. Do they have anybody else to worry about, Ella?
I don't really think so. When you've got Koger, Davis, and then you throw in Nick Anderson, the wide receiver, in there, they are a solid offense. They've also got an incredible defensive squad. And when you look at their schedule coming up, I think the Cinco Ranch game could be a little close or in there. But if it's anything like the Tompkins game, they're just gonna blow through everybody that's left. But I think the only game left that could provide some sort of challenge for the Tigers is that Cinco Ranch game. But I think that they'll go right through it easily and head into the playoffs as the top seed from their district and probably make it to AT&T Stadium again.
Yeah, like I said, we didn't see this coming against Tompkins, and I was going to say about that Cinco Ranch game, that's the only one they have to worry about, and I think it'll maybe be a 20-point game. They're going to blow everyone out up until late November when we get into the late rounds of the playoffs. There were worries about this team not being experienced enough coming into the season, but I really think that, we've talked about 2 teams now already, Katy and Westfield. I could see either one of them being state champions and, potentially both of them. How great would that be if we do this all season and 2 Houston teams win the state championships? Heading over to DFW, though, it looks like South Lake Carroll hasn't missed a step with the absence of Quinn Ewers and Brady Boyd. The Dragons are 6-0, 2-0 in district with wins over Highland Park, Rockwall Heath, and then they beat Keller last week. So they're one of the only undefeated teams left through 6 weeks. Is it time for people, including us, to take South Lake Carroll more seriously?
I think definitely. when you look at how Caden Anderson has filled Ewer's shoes, he's thrown over 1,000 passing yards and 15 touchdown passes. Then you have Owen Allen on the rushing game with over 800 yards. And then you throw in James Lehman with 689 all-purpose yards. And the receiving duo of Landon Sampson and RJ Maryland, this team has incredible offensive weapons, and their defense is just as good. They are a team that has so much potential to go far in this season. And I think everyone just kind of has rushed them off because they're missing Ewers, who's their big name. But when you look at the stats and you look at the games that they're winning and the scores they're putting up, this team is just as good as they've been, and they have the potential to be even better. Like, just missing Ewers is not going to be their downfall. They have picked up the slack very well and have come out undefeated. They're 2-0 in district. They're going to win their district. They've got a great team this year, and I think that it's definitely time everyone needs to start taking them more seriously and think of them as a contender for a state championship this year.
Yeah, I remember week 1, I did a pick'em show, and it was South Lake Carroll and Highland Park, and people weren't even sure South Lake Carroll was going to win that game. No one really knew what to expect, but they have a lot of stars on that team. I mean, you mentioned like 5 guys that are not only D1 bound, not only Power 5 bound, but will probably be on Saturday nights for a long time to come. Owen Allen is maybe the best running back in the state if it's not Ruben Owens, especially in that class. I think we said they would have to ride the running game a lot this year. They haven't had to do that, though. Caden Anderson has been everything as promised and more. The receiving core, like you said, is just great. So I think South Lake Carroll is a team to look out for. I don't think people will be sleeping on them for much longer. They'll probably come in undefeated unless they drop one at the very end. So yet another team to look out for. So we recap 3 games or 3 teams that look like they're extremely impressive coming into the late games of district. And now I'll hand it over to my interview for this week. And now I am joined by Kaleb KV Black at Klein Oak High School. Kaleb, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Great. You're having a great season, man. We're happy to have you on. I've gotten a chance to see you a couple times already this season. How are you feeling? I mean, I know it hasn't exactly gone the way you would like to in a couple games, but you've done great individually. So how are you feeling about the season so far?
Well, so far, I'm feeling great about this season. I feel like we showed a lot. It was a lot of stuff going on in the air about me and my team. So I feel like we proved we needed to, but we definitely still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, this is your first really normal year with Klein Oak. You played your freshman year at Cy Creek. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then last year you came into Klein Oak and were newcomer of the year, which is an award usually given to sophomores. That was with your first season. So what was that transition like playing at Cy Creek? It's a good program, but then you go to Klein Oak and you kind of elevate this team all of a sudden.
It was a good transition. I feel like it was just the transition I needed, like competition-wise. I feel like I fit it right good in with everything. Everything was just good.
Yeah, well, you've got a great relationship with your quarterback, PJ Hatter, one of the best talents that I've seen this season. What do you think makes that connection so special?
That's my God. Really just all the training we put in. We worked out a lot over the summer. Still now, last year, we just been working all the way up into this season. It's really just showing.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of you guys have really close relationships. It's a tightly knit team. It's been public that you guys have gone through some struggles with a couple of guys on the team. How do you think that's helped you grow throughout the year?
I feel like it's helped us a lot. It definitely made us come together as a family, as a brotherhood more, and just making it more about what can I do for him than for me, as a team. So.
Yeah, I thought that was really incredible. I got to see you guys against North Shore. We came out with the number 3 for Tank out there. So, we wish him the best. We wish your entire community the best. But that North Shore game, to be honest, was a little rough. You guys played some incredible teams in out of district. Spring, Atascocita, and North Shore That's back to back to back. Did it ever feel kind of demoralizing playing teams that good and unfortunately losing all those games?
No, every week we was just looking to get better. We knew it was gonna be a tough game every single week. We just was focused on what we could do and how we could get better and how it was gonna prepare us for district.
Yeah, well, it has prepared you for district. You won that opening game. We'll get to that a little bit later on. So what specifically did you take from those games? Playing a lot of high-profile players, a lot of experienced teams. How do you think that helped you specifically?
I feel like it helped us a lot, as far as just giving more effort on plays, not being able to take plays off certain series. You might be tired. You still just got to give that extra, to help your team out. In hard games like that, it's going to be times like that almost every play, really. So
Absolutely.
you just got to come with it. And when you go against teams like that in your district and teams that's not really up there with them, that really give the odds to us. So.
Yeah, well, we talked about high-profile players. You are well on your way to becoming one of those. You have offers from Tulsa, Houston, Kansas, and Wisconsin. So right now, I know there's a couple other teams talking, but what are you looking for in a potential home for the next 3 or 4 years? I mean, once you graduate in 2023.
Like school-wise?
Yeah.
Like who am I looking at or who am I talking to?
What really stands out in the program so far that have looked at you so far? Maybe if it's a good coaching staff or facilities or something like that.
Really, Tulsa and Houston, I gotta say, be the most standout and better because of the coaching staff and how they reach out to me. Wisconsin also, they reach out to me a lot. So, and the campuses, obviously, so, and Houston close to home. So,
yeah, you and I actually had a conversation about that a couple of weeks ago, and you can find the write-up on VYPE.com about Houston becoming a part of the Big 12, and you would be a part of that first class. You would be a freshman when they enter the Big 12. So what would that mean to you? You still got a long way to go, and you're likely to get some more offers. But how special would that be to play for your hometown team as they move up in the college football ranks?
That'd be real special. That'll be a great opportunity for me. That's everybody don't get that opportunity. So that'd be great.
Absolutely. And you've got a bye week this week. You're playing Tomball next week. So what has Coach been focusing on during this bye week?
Really just the little things, getting things cleaned up. We just working on being more focused at practice, focusing locked in, and just preparing for the game.
Wish you the best of luck. We know Tomball's a tough team. Ashton Lux, who's also on the podcast, that's where he goes. So we're gonna have two different opinions on who we want to win this game. But I wish you the best of luck, Kaleb, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sure.
And we'll end this week just like we have all the weeks this year with some picks. Let's start off with Clear Falls and Clear Springs.
This is a game that we've talked about a lot the past few weeks. Who's going to pull out this second place slot in this district after Clear Falls falls to Dickinson? And Clear Falls had a great preseason. Their only loss, I think, right now is Dickinson. They beat a great Clearbrook team. And Clear Falls, that one loss to Dickinson does not define the future of this team. And Springs is a bit on the weaker side this year than what they've been in previous years. So I think Falls takes this one and goes on to get second in their district.
Yeah, both of these teams dominated last week. Clear Springs against Clear Lake, and then Clear Falls against Clearbrook. I think Clear Falls is going to take this one, but I really like Clear Springs. I think we've underrated them just a little bit. They put 64 points up on Conroe a couple weeks ago. That was in the last non-district game, and then 47 against Clear Lake. So Noah Thomas and that entire offense, although there are a lot of question marks coming into the season, they'll be good. They still have to play Dickinson in a couple weeks, though. So they're probably sitting at third in that district heading into the playoffs. But like we've said before, this is a good district, and those top 3 teams are all very good. How about Cy-Fair and Jersey Village?
So a couple weeks ago, we talked about Stratford, Cy-Fair, where Stratford came out on top. Cy-Fair is in a rebuilding stage right now. They're not anywhere close to where they've been the past few years in their championship winning program. And when we talked about it last week, I believe, we said that Stratford's main contenders for those top playoff spots in their district was between Memorial and Jersey Village. And Jersey Village has a great team right now. They're definitely winning games. And against a Cy-Fair team that's in their rebuilding right now and is struggling a little bit, I think Jersey Village takes advantage on that and capitalizes on it to get this win over Cy-Fair.
I'm going to agree with you there, too. I like Adam Tran. I like Jersey Village. I think this is a good team. I think when we see Stratford play them, it's going to be really exciting because that'll basically be the district championship unless Memorial really impresses us over the next couple weeks. They look good. So those are the top 3 teams. So Cy-Fair is probably sitting at 4th in this district unless they beat Memorial on the 22nd. So really interesting. We've already talked about that district. I'm taking Jersey Village against Cy-Fair, though. How about College Park and Grand Oaks?
When you look at preseason schedules, both of these teams didn't necessarily get it off easy, but compared to some of the other big names in the Houston area, I think that their preseason schedules are pretty similar to each other, and it's hard to base off of just that. So Grand Oaks is undefeated right now. College Park has 1 loss. I think it'll be a great game, but I think Grand Oaks pulls this one off. They've got a great offense. They've got a great defense, and this College Park team is really good as well, but it'll be a toss-up, but I think Grand Oaks for this one.
Oh, they beat a team that we're going to talk about in just a minute, and that's Klein. College Park did 38-24 in that non-district schedule game. I'm going to take College Park in this one. I've seen Grand Oaks. I know a couple of their players. They are one of the only undefeated teams left, and no one really saw that coming. They're still a new program, and they're still kind of developing guys. So this is a team to look out for later on, but I think they're still meshing a little bit. I know it's a young team. I'll take College Park in this one. So mentioned Klein against Tomball Memorial.
Tomball Memorial, I think, is still a little wounded from that loss, to Tomball. And I think they both only have 2 wins. But Klein is going to take advantage of Tomball Memorial's little slump that they're in right now. They are not winning as many games as they're used to. They're struggling a little bit on the offense, and their defense is just not up to the caliber of the teams that they've been playing. However, I think Tomball Memorial is about to have their comeback and take this game from Klein and start winning again to get a better playoff spot for the future.
See, I kind of hyped up Klein just a minute ago, and I'm going to take him in this one. They have losses to Memorial, College Park, and Klein-Cain. 3 teams that will probably be in the playoffs. I'm not so sure about College Park. I'm going to take Klein in this one. I saw Tomball Memorial last week. I'm not all that impressed, although they've been playing some really good teams. This is one of the best districts, really underrated. All these Klein teams are kind of stepping up this year, even with Forest coming out of district undefeated, I believe. I'm not sure what they've done in the last couple of weeks, but there are a couple dark horse teams in this district that could make it to the playoffs. And then we'll finish out with Willis and the Woodlands.
This is going to be a great game, and I wish I could go see it because Willis is a great team. The Woodlands is a great team, and they've been playing great teams, and they've got good losses under their belts, and it's really going to be a battle for this one. But I'm going to take Mayberry Meadower and the Woodlands, and because they are just an unstoppable offensive force. And they have very strong losses under their belts to 2 amazing teams right now. And I think that they're really going to use the knowledge that they've gotten from those losses and just apply it to the rest of their district play. And I think it will lead them to take this win over Willis.
Yeah, I love the Woodlands. I talked about them a lot to start off this year. I love Mayberry. I think the whole team is great. They've got a great bond. Willis is going to pull this one out. It's going to be the big upset of the week, I'm not so sure it's an upset. DJ Lagway is an incredible talent. He recently got an offer from LSU. He's going all around the country right now. Everyone's going to be calling for his name. We get to see Lagway and Matauer go against each other for 3 years, and maybe even in the playoffs if they keep playing the way they are. So I'm going to take the Willis in this one. We had a lot of different picks this week, so we'll check on those next week. We'll see all of you for episode number 31. And thanks for tuning in to number 30. For El Hestand, I'm Will Turboff. We'll see you soon.